What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the Last Garage. Today we got ourselves another how-to video. This time we are going to be installing a 7-inch headlight on this Dyna Fatbob. Now there's a couple reasons on why I decided to go this route and get rid of the dual headlight. Um, One being is safety. How about I just get to that at the very end of the video and we'll talk about the whys. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. I already have the headlight removed. It only gets held on by one bolt, and I'll go through on how to strip the wire harness off your old headlight. That way, so you can use it on your new one. The particular setup that I'm using on this is going to be a softail headlight housing. I just wanted to go with OEM, it's better quality, and I'll get into what I did for the bracket that maybe you can make your own, or I'll show you exactly where you can buy one that has the identical specifications of the one that I made. So let's go over to the bench. So here we are, we're on the bench. We have the new setup right here. Just a black housing 7-inch off of a softail, and we have the old dual headlight setup. Another one I tried out, which is this. I think it's like a 4.5 or 5. I don't know what it is, but this was supposed to be a 7-inch. It was not. It's 7 inches from there to there. So that looked extremely small on the bike when I put it on. Here's a picture of that right here. So what you got is after pulling this off, the light sits in there. That just sits on there. Just like that. And you'll have 2 screws to remove. This is so that you can pull your harness out of it. And this one hand is kind of a pill. Alright. Okay, now we can use both hands on this. So it just comes out like that. Probably just sit this in a box where it's probably going to sit for the rest of its life. These screws aren't going to be able to be used for anything else, so I might as well just... Actually, we'll go ahead and just reassemble this whole unit. I'm probably trying to set this in there upside down. There we go. I don't know if you can see my dogs in the background freaking out. And just like that, nothing's really tight. I just didn't want it to go anywhere. Okay, so let's go on to the new one. So your wiring is going to go through there. What I did, I'll show you on the new housing. All I did here, grabbed onto it and kind of just wiggled and pushed it in. It sits on a little lip. Has a little lip inside there that makes that sit in there so it's more watertight. I'm gonna have to change out these plugs, but this will directly plug into my bike, and that's with no splices that are gonna be exposed, and it's gonna work out pretty good. So here's the mount that I made. If you go on to I'll have a link in the description on where you can find the all the measurements you need to either make one of these or you can just buy it from them. It's good company. I had some free time, some aluminum sitting around, and I just made it. Okay, so let's go ahead and install the mount into place. As usual, you want to use some good blue Loctite. We all know how them Harleys like to shake. And I'm just going to stick that up through the hole and thread it on. I'm going to leave this semi-loose because I'm still going to have to do some final tweaking once it's all on. There we go. Now that'll at least kind of stay in place. For hardware, what I'm using is I have a piece of all thread that I cut down, and I have this for each side. Just stuff that I had kind of laying around. Now it does help to not have the headlight and everything like that on this when you do this, because it makes everything a lot lighter. Just line those holes up and screw this in. I do have this hole right here threaded, so I can get a good bite on each side and not rely on just one bolt. Now since we got about that far, we'll go ahead and put this hardware on this side. Probably could have cleaned these threads up just a little bit more. Now all that is, it's a 5/8. Use a deep well with an extension so I can get it away from the fork tubes. Now I'm not trying to torque this down yet. This one's really not going to be on by too much, so with the blue Loctite on that. Nice thing about this bottom not being fully tightened is I can do this. Okay, so at this point I don't really need it to be moving around. Okay, so I'm actually missing bolts, I'm missing pieces, and I gotta pick up some electrical plugs. That will kind of give you an idea of what you're kind of looking at here. This really doesn't matter because I don't even have bolts for it. You get three tries with this, and I seem to always be the last one. So, and then with this, it is a whole lot easier if you have these bolts in. So there you have it. Looks kind of big, but as time's going on, it doesn't look as big, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like, you know, a skinny girl that gets a boob job. At first, you're like, man, this kind of seems disproportional to her body. Then as time goes on, I kind of like them big old titties. So that'll just plug right in. That pushes up into there. So there you have it. There's pretty much the install. What you have is a little bit of wiring. Change out the plug that way so it plugs directly into this setup. Plug right in, and you're done. You're good to go. So now into the wiring. So because I'm using the Fatbob's harness, I gotta attach on these different plugs for the headlights. So the yellow wire is the low beam, and the middle wire, this new plug, is also the low beam. You're just heating it up. Just like that. Now that won't go anywhere. And there's that. Go ahead and force the black shrink tubing over. And now let's quickly get this one over. Break out a heat gun since we don't have a lighter in. There we go. Now if you notice, I have this added blue attached off of the low beam. I looked at to see, I thought maybe that I was gonna get a double hot when I turn on my high beam, but I lose off my low beam and get onto my high beam when I switch it. It's kind of bummer, but I'll show you that here in a second on why I was hoping to have it on both. Let this kind of cool down before I start moving around. So now we're going to try this out. Just your standard Harley. That one line. Not bad. what I was looking at. You got your El Cheapo no brand LED setup. It says DOT on it, but that's probably a lie. Probably illegal as fuck. Nobody's gonna care. I don't care. But it was cheap. I decided I'd try it out. But I realized I have now 2 female connectors on this. I was using the harness that came with this. Apparently the harness that came with this isn't going to work good.
Will adapt to fall, survive and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.